Hi there, I'm Simon Piper, Regional VP of Sky. Here today to meet with Luis Martinez from Jellyfish. Hope you enjoy. Should be a good conversation. Welcome, Luis.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you too.
See you too.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Q4, huh?
Q4, exactly. Busy time.
Busy.
So you were one of the very first people I met at Sky 4.5 years ago.
Wow.
And we were both in very different roles back then.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit more about yourself for our viewers, and tell us about the journey that you've been on since.
So I did Amazon sort of partner management for about 3.5 years altogether.
Yep.
As of the last almost 3 years, I work for Jellyfish, which is a UK-based independent agency.
Yep.
I lead the e-commerce practice as well as the relationship with marketplaces and ecosystem of providers like yourself and Criteo, for instance. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I moved from traditional advertising, let's call it that way, to the fascinating world of retail media in the past 5 years.
Great. Tell us about your peak of the week.
More and more, this idea of retail media branching out from what I would call mid to lower funnel, from that transaction, more and more the conversations that we're having about data and how data feeds into the advertising signals and decisions.
Yeah.
is really kind of like the highlight for me, right? Like,
Sure.
I really feel that, we're looking at retail media and retail data to make those decisions moving forward.
Yeah.
Next year is all going to be about that, I think, and measurement. So, those are really fascinating areas because I'm starting to see a movement of brands saying, like, what can we do in this marketplace to sell or advertise versus what can a marketplace do for my brand?
Got it.
Very different subjects, very different people, very different narrative.
Yeah.
And being able to have the foundations right on retail is fundamental, obviously, because at the end of the day, a sale's a sale.
Yeah.
But being able to answer those questions on the brand,
Yeah.
requires a different set skill, requires measurement, data, and proof points.
Yeah.
So that's an exciting world that we're all going to get into as we move forward.
Tell me about this pub. What pub did you choose and why?
What's so special about it?
Yeah.
So all of this area actually, so I live here in Highbury and Islington, and specifically in the Canterbury area. And it brings a lot of memories basically of when we moved from the States with my family. We were house hunting, and this, along with another pub, was one of the first ones we started to come to. So it brings a lot of memories of, being new to London, to the whole scene here, the pop culture, which is very, UK English, right? Like having a drink, sharing ideas. I love that. It's something that, this exchange is really cool.
So, Luis, we've interviewed a number of different agencies as part of this Retail Media Thursday series.
Mm-hmm.
Love to get your view on Jellyfish and what sets you apart from the competition.
Sure. We're 2,500 people worldwide.
Yeah.
Combine that with the Brandtech Group, which is the company that the group that recently acquired us. Plus, I don't know if you probably saw the news yesterday about Acorn integration. So that effectively doubles, what we can do.
Yeah.
We have 5,000 people worldwide.
Yeah.
Not bad for an independent agency, right?
Bad at all, yeah.
So what that really means is that we have the digital reach that you will normally see in bigger agencies, but we're nimble. We're able to go to market quickly. We're able to code. We're able to develop solutions for our clients. So tomorrow we can launch, a client from the UK into America. We can bring an American client into Europe. Yeah. I mean, we work a lot with you guys on that kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
So, we have a lot of success there, right? So we have that reach. We have that ability to basically understand the complexities of our clients and being able to adapt to the different markets across the channels, right? Like more and more, we're seeing more omni-channel that's coming.
Yeah.
And again, like
you see it too, for sure. Yeah.
As you have, specialized e-commerce agencies, that's where they stop. They can't, go beyond that.
Yeah.
We do that very well.
So you're a UK-based agency, but you also mentioned that we do a lot of work across the US as well as across EMEA.
Yeah.
EMEA too. Love to get your view on the difference between the two markets, and in particular, what can we learn from our friends across the pond?
I used to say this to, you guys when you were Kensho, right? And to our clients, that if you want to see what the UK is going to look like in 2 years' time when it comes to advertising, look at the US. If Australia wants to understand what's going on in the UK or what the future will look like, look at the UK.
Yeah.
So it's a question of waves, right?
Sure.
Now, that is evolving. I think it's really cool to start seeing that there's a lot of innovation that is happening here
Yeah.
for the rest of the world, right? Especially in retail media. What I find different, I guess, here is the fragmentation, obviously, because, you know, the US
For sure.
is arguably a less complex market, right? One market, a few marketplaces, very well established,
Yeah.
like your Walmarts, your Amazons, your Targets, your Best Buys, right? Your Home Depots,
Yeah.
very strong. In the UK or even in Europe, right? More and more what you're seeing is the creation of retail media networks.
Yeah.
Your Asdas of the world, your Tesco's of the world, right? They're doing that. Or Carrefour's. You're seeing a lot of those companies creating their own retail media networks.
Yeah.
Very interesting, you know, how they're seeing how those margins make a lot of sense.
Yep.
And by definition, with that variety, you bring a lot of innovations to the market. I've seen very cool startups here based out of the UK doing very cool things on AI, on bidding and things like that.
Yeah.
That you don't see in the US because, you know, it's a more consolidated market.
Yeah.
So I guess to summarize what I'm trying to say, the US perhaps arguably a little bit more mature, more consolidated, but more marketplace driven. UK more retail media network driven.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That creates a whole different dynamic on how to approach.
So now Amazon was saying, I mean, Piers met up with Piers at Unboxed, and he was like, one of my big things is we're no longer building to the US first and then EMEA second.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. The more those publishers take that type of approach, the more we move away from what was the US in 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
I do think that you're right. From a practitioner perspective, there's a lot of smart stuff that's going on over here.
Yeah, I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's just about the evolution of, how would I put it? Like, obviously, every market will have a different need. But I guess it's the beauty of retail, right? It goes back to, you know, like the Chevy Nova, right? Like, I don't know if you know the story about that. It says,
No.
So Nova in Spanish means doesn't go.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Try to sell a car that basically says Chevy doesn't go in Latin America. It's not gonna stick, right? But Nova means new, right? Like it's so the purpose was basically, hey, we have this brand new thing, you know, it's cool. Yeah. But then when you translate that, it basically means the car doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, stuff. I mean, simple stuff like that, right?
The smallest things.
But it's the world of retail. It's about the consumer mind. So I think that's what drives the innovation, right? That's what drives perhaps the adaptability, and whoever understands that best is going to win.
So we were both at Amazon Unboxed London a couple of weeks back.
Yes.
Was it a couple of weeks back? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's crazy. Time flies, yeah.
And there's no surprise to me or to anyone really that it was very heavily focused on upper funnel and brand. Love to get your view on that and the implications for the retail media ecosystem. Yeah.
Everybody wants to get into that, you know, world of brand budgets. Makes a lot of sense. As I said before, you know, I think those are kind of like the exciting things about 2024.
Yeah.
Now, makes sense. Like if I remember my homework, right? AMC, first party data, brand budgets. Got it, right? Like those are the main themes.
Yeah.
It was very interesting that the money-making machine, you know, is still lower funnel, still sponsored products, right?
Yeah.
But it's becoming like, you know, Google has search and it will continue to be the financial revenue. Yeah. But Google is venturing to other things, right? Same thing with Meta. Amazon is going that direction.
Yeah, new frontiers of growth.
Exactly. Yeah. So the challenge, the way I see it, is in 2024 is going to be about proof points.
Yeah.
We need to go beyond you have unique audiences and unique reach.
Yeah.
And, you know, you should be on Amazon because of Prime. We get that. I think all of us know that.
Yeah.
But what about incrementality? What about unique audiences? What about proof cases and proof points?
Yeah.
That's where I think Amazon needs to basically develop that.
Yeah.
And do, I'll be honest, a better job at selling that dream.
Yeah.
Now, enter the agencies, enter the partners like yourselves. We can help them shape those stories. We can help them produce those case studies, those proof points. We have visibility across the funnel, right? As I mentioned before, like we have media strategists, media planners that look at the overall picture. So understanding how to better put that story and the value points is going to be key in that evolution. That's where we need to go. That makes a lot of sense. But I think we need to shape that story. And the more we partner in shaping that story, the more successful everybody will be. Clients, partners, marketplaces.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. It's about telling stories with data in the brand world.
It is about telling the story, but also telling the why and the how. Like that's sometimes missing, I think, in a lot of these stories. I mean, look, search has been around for 20 years perhaps at this point?
Bit longer, I think.
So we know we can learn from those things and leapfrog into the next generation, right? Like we don't need to wait 20 years to tell this story.
No, exactly.
We know the pitfalls, we know how it works. All of us can do a better job at telling and narrating these stories. And a stronger partnership on that front is what's needed for us to drive that adoption. Because definitely the future is there, right?
Yeah, agreed.
But the story is not.
So on that note, what would you say would be the key things that need to happen in 2024 to make the upper funnel storytelling and delivery of that even more powerful?
So if we look at what Amazon has been doing, right? And it's a good example when it comes to Marketing Cloud. Now, Jellyfish has been in the cloud business, early on with Google. We do a lot of stuff on the Google side. We do a lot of stuff with Amazon. At least for the last 2.5 years, we've been, really market drivers, the largest independent agency working on AMC. We have been selling and upselling AMC analysis to our clients and bringing, basically insights and more than anything, actionable insights on what we can do. Now, it's early days, right? But measurement is going to be key. Things that we worked on include, from the most basic things like understanding the right balance of search and display, which sounds so basic, but, a couple of years ago, we didn't even have that story, right, on search and display and how we needed to work on this. So being able to understand for X campaign, for X goal, what's the best balance between lower funnel to mid to upper funnel and how to change that, it's critical, right? It's basic portfolio management of investments. Now taking that to, so we've done that across many clients, especially on the DIY sector in France, which actually has helped us, get more trust from the client, get more investment, but not in a sneaky kind of way, but more like understanding what the value of that is, and then having the confidence to put more money into brand, right? Then, things like how we should think about the ROI or how much should I expose you to an ad? So reach and frequency, right? So at some point, an ad becomes irrelevant, right? So simple stuff like that is not about, cutting budgets or spending less. Quite the contrary, it's about how do you spend the same money more wisely.
Efficiency.
Or maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. That's fine, right? It's not about, spending more for the sake of spending more. It's being smart.
You reinvest that elsewhere, right?
Exactly. Perhaps another channel, perhaps another strategy, doesn't matter. Then, things that are more, in my opinion, a little bit perhaps more advanced, streaming TV, for instance, right? As you go upper funnel, what's the impact of those campaigns in sales, in reach, geographically, so we've worked with a large appliance company in the US to understand that. More and being able to repurpose those budgets more efficiently. And lastly, I would say, things that perhaps we call more advanced, like multi-touch attribution. So we work with a large company that's a joint client of ours on the sealant DIY world, right? And, it was really appalling to see that for specific products, it made more sense to go with a specific portfolio of search and display strategies versus other products. Like you don't get those insights just like that, right? You need measurement. And I would say something very specific to Jellyfish.
Yeah.
We look at audiences within audiences. We have our own sort of ways to peel the onion, so to speak.
Cool.
Reach to specific buckets of audiences that otherwise you wouldn't identify.
Yeah.
We've done that for a large, worldwide known battery manufacturer, right? Where we were able to actually find, a very profitable, highly engaged audience that was not even there, identified in the standard report.
Yeah.
So that's the power of measurement, right? And this is really early days. Imagine what we can do with first-party data. Yeah. Imagine what we can do with AI. Imagine what we can do with omni-channel. I mean, there's so much stuff ahead of us, like we said, in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things in that Amazon Unboxed really came out was the interoperability. If that's even a word, but I love it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, yeah, it's early days. I mean, from practice to, I guess, from theory to practice, there's still a long ways to go, as we said, but we know that work. We know that can be done.
Yeah.
And now we have proof points, right? So the future looks very bright.
Yeah.
But we need to absolutely work on those stories, right?
Yeah.
You and I are comfortable with these subjects.
Yeah.
Our clients might or might not be, right? So how do we make this as simple, as obvious, as basically easy to digest, and actionable as possible?
Yeah.
That's where we come in, right?
So thank you very much for your time today. It's been great to chat. Now, just to
the
finish up,
beer glasses can say that, right?
They're going
like
quickly.
They're going down.
Yeah. We need another one in a second. It's want to just end with 3 quick-fire questions. So,
fire away.
We're in Islington.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask: Arsenal or Spurs?
Arsenal.
Good man. Correct answer.
Correct answer.
Yeah.
My kid is really into it too. I mean, as in, like, his friends are, so he has to be.
Yeah.
So yes, Arsenal for sure.
Good. Next question: pub or restaurant for you?
Oh boy, that's a complicated question, my friend. So, without this being an advert, right? Like, we are blessed to live next to a pub.
Yeah.
It's a gastropub.
Yeah.
So I get the best of both worlds, and the Sunday roast is to die for.
Yeah.
So I think pub, but a pub with
gastropub.
good food. Not even gastro, but a pub with amazing food.
Okay.
That's the deal.
Cool. Got it. And then final question. So you've lived in Seattle, you mentioned. You lived in London.
Yeah.
UK or US? What's your preference?
Oh my God. I'm going to get it.
You get in trouble.
Do you know John Wick? Have you seen the the excommunicado thing?
Yeah.
I'm afraid that if I give the wrong answer, that's going to happen to me.
You can decline to answer.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I will always be thankful for the U.S. I lived there 20 years, even though my accent probably doesn't tell you that. But that's where my professional career was there, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the ways that I approach business are very much American, because that's my training.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to have a very international background. I grew up in Guatemala. I speak 3 languages. I live in the US, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love the UK. I love living here. So to answer your question, probably depends on the day of the week sometimes. But I would say that we're so happy here in the UK that we definitely don't have any plans to move back just right now. So
Got it.
I guess if you ask me today, on this Thursday, UK all the way.
Yeah, for sure. Good answer.
Thank you.
Diplomatic.
That's what I learned in business school.
There you go.
Cheers.